Were you let down by Battlefield 2042? Do you feel like a piece of you is missing? The absolute belly flops of 2042, Halo, and Vanguard has given way to an unlikely savior of the FPS console realm. A game I hadn't heard of until recently, and a game that has gripped me like no other. This is the review of Hell Let Loose. Hell Let Loose is a first-person World War II combat sim that truly takes immersion to the next level. Although large in size with a slower play style and steeper learning curve, its ability to reward you with amazing moments is almost unparalleled. Let's dive in. Because Hell Let Loose doesn't give you the modern accoutrement that most modern games provide, like a minimap, radar, spy planes, or kill cams, it makes Hell Let Loose's gameplay very cutthroat, methodical, and sometimes slow. One thing I really love about Hell Let Loose is it does not hold your hand, not for a second. When you die, you're dead. No replay, no nothing. Just the sound of your helmet getting shattered, and then you go back and respawn and try again. There are a few different roles you can play in Hell Let Loose, so let's go over them really quickly. First up is the commander, who is responsible for directing squads on the battlefield and so much more. We'll talk about that role a little bit later. Then we have infantry, which is all the boots on the ground soldiers. Officer, which is the squad leader. Rifleman, assault, automatic, medic, machine gunner, anti-tank, and engineer. Then you have the armor roles, which is the tank commander and crewman, i.e. gunner and driver. And finally you have recon, which is a spotter and sniper roles. All of these roles play a vital part in defeating the enemy, and I've only really tried infantry and armor, so I can't say much about commanding anything or sniping and spotting, but I can tell you the level of immersion in being a driver or a gunner on a tank is absolutely fucking incredible. It's really one of the most sim-like, true-to-life combat experiences I've ever had. You have to start the engine, put it in gear, and navigate through all kinds of terrain. The view is quite great from inside the tank as well. Well, I mean, it's not great, but it's true to the simulation spirit, which means it's a small glass window you look through to navigate, and that's where the tank commander comes in. He has a periscope that pops out of the roof of the tank and can not only mark enemies, but help navigate and communicate with the team commander. So there's one more tank role we haven't talked about yet, and that's the tank gunner. So far, I think the tank gunner is the most fun I've had operating a vehicle in a game in quite some time. You have a couple of options for munitions, armor piercing or high explosives for the main cannon, and your machine gun as well. So when good communication comes together with your tank squad and you really get rolling, it's truly a one-of-a-kind experience. It's not hard getting ridiculously hyped when you take out a moving personnel carrier, destroy a tank, or blow up an infantry position with a high explosive round and see body parts flying around. Tanking in Hell Let Loose is stupidly fun and highly immersive. Also, the audio and small details is really too much to go over at all. I mean, even just driving the tank while the gunner shoots the main cannon is super cool and highly immersive. Whoa, what the fuck was that? Did you shoot? Damn, that scared the shit out of me, bro. The shooting mechanics in Hell Let Loose are fine. It's not going to win any awards for being the smoothest shooter in the market, that's for sure. But with some minor adjustments in the settings, you can get it feeling pretty good in your hands. Another feature I like is the leaning. You can lean like you can lean in PUBG and Hell Let Loose, and it's quite nice. They give you a few different controller scheme options as well, so make sure you change it to where L3 and R3 are your lean buttons, and you'll be all set. The next thing I want to talk about is immersion. I feel like this was a key goal of Black Matter, the studio behind Hell Let Loose. This game is insanely player driven, meaning it cannot be played without comms. Communication is a key part of the command structure and allows squads to be more effective on the battlefield. Your squad has a squad leader who talks to the commander, and each team has its own commander that oversees the battlefield and communicates orders and plans to all the squad leaders.
Eventually get to the barn before we start another push.
Other duties include building and supplying garrisons to give players a spawn point. Like I said, communication is key to winning on the battlefield and having a good time. And you'll also quickly learn it's much more enjoyable when you communicate with your squad and work together. Also, some roles require more communication than others, like being in a tank squad. All three positions in a tank squad need to work together to drive, shoot, and navigate through the battlefield to victory. So another aspect of immersion is the visual elements. Hell Let Loose is a beautiful game. I played it on the Xbox Series X in 4K, and I was actually expecting a worse looking game, but much to my surprise, the graphics are awesome. The explosions look high quality, and you can see machine gun barrels billowing smoke off in the distance, and raindrops in the ditches when you're trying to keep your head low while advancing. But it's not without its flaws. Black Matter Studio is a smaller game developer with about 20 or so employees, so I think that it's important to mention that before we get a little critical. And visually, there's definitely a few things that need to be worked out. The game stutters and lags here and there, but it's not too bad. The one big thing for me is the ghosting. When quickly moving by close objects, you can see a ghost or tracer of the object. It's probably the worst visual glitch in the game that needs to be fixed, but it's one of those problems where I'm having so much fun that I don't really care about any of these visual things because they don't pull me out of the immersion that much. But I'm sure that there's those who've been playing on a console for a while now and they're probably ready for it to be fixed. So I hope that it gets fixed sooner rather than later. So another part of the immersion equation is the audio. The sound effects are top notch in Hell Let Loose. From inside a tank to bullets whizzing by, the sound of bullets ringing the enemy's helmets when you get a headshot, airplane runs, bombing runs are next level insane in the audio front. Also, proximity audio is a game changer for console gaming. I've experienced it in other games before, but it's never been this good. When walking by another squad, you can hear what they're talking about or plotting. It's ridiculously immersive to the point where it's truly a great part of the game. Whether it's people role-playing their hearts out or people just being funny, proximity chat is fun as hell, and I enjoy the shit out of it.
See? Smoke says, oh, that was nasty as fuck, boy.
The maps in Hell Let Loose are huge and fantastic. They take place across France and Germany and are truly great, each with their own feel and mood. Blown out cars on fire, trees on fire, walking through cut lines and ditches has never been so awesome. And with the size of the map, at first I was a little lost, but once I started communicating and asking people what to do and how to play the game, you realize that you need to squad up or get in a transport truck to move closer to the front lines. Hell Let Loose doesn't hold your hand and is pretty deep, so I had to ask for help a few times, and everyone was always super nice and helpful. The Hell Let Loose community is definitely a less hostile environment when compared to other first-person shooters. Also, the actual maps that you use to navigate are really legit. They did a great job of making the maps look and feel like actual tactical war maps. There's a lot of symbols and different things to know about the map, but it has a little legend in the corner so that you can always find what you're looking for. It's also very much needed for reporting enemy positions to command. The game modes for Hell Let Loose are pretty basic. Both are 50 versus 50. One is called Warfare, which is pretty much two sides meeting in the middle of the map and playing tug of war. Whoever pushes further into the enemy territory wins. The second game mode is called Offensive, which is where you start off with no control over the map and have to fight to capture points to gain more control. The game modes are honestly perfect for this kind of game, and I have no complaints. My experience with Hell Let Loose this far is this title is without a doubt the most immersive war experience I've ever had. And although it has a few rough edges and there's definitely a lot to prove in the console version of the game, Hell Let Loose still holds up and delivers an absolutely incredible experience. And I love this little corner of the FPS landscape Hell Let Loose has made for itself. I want to call it a Battlefield killer, but it's way too different to be in the same category. Battlefield feels like an arcade game after playing Hell Let Loose. Hell Let Loose is to Battlefield what Battlefield is to COD, as far as gameplay speed is concerned. It's slower, and in that slower gameplay, you get a more tactical style that I love. Yes, it's great to get headshots and to blow people up, but working together with your squad to flank a tank and blow it up, or get commands to lock down an area with your squad is where the truly immersive experiences are. I'm sure there's a lot that I missed or didn't talk about in this review, but I think this is just the beginning of my time with this game. And for Black Matter Studios and Hell Let Loose, I really believe great things are on the horizon. I know that there hasn't been very many updates for the console version of the game, but from what I see on Twitter, there will be a console update in the spring or summer that will hopefully smooth out the experience for us console gamers. That being said, I think Hell Let Loose is a truly great first-person shooter experience, experience, and it offers immersion like no other, explosions like no other. I couldn't recommend it more, and if you're on the fence about it, just go ahead and get it. It will most likely end up blowing your socks off like it did mine. Please press that like button if you enjoyed the content I handcrafted for your viewing pleasures, and subscribe if you'd like to keep up to date with new Game Pass game reviews, or in this case, just a good game that's on Xbox. This has been Eli with Rage Review. Take care, guys.